Grade. It's time to learn what's happening with Crash and Pen. I'm going to read you chapters 8 and 9. I'm outside today because it's absolutely beautiful. It's Sunday. I hope you enjoyed your Sunday. And let's find out what's happening with the boys. All right, chapter 8. That's about as close as I ever got to the Webbs. Not that they didn't keep asking me over for dinner. They did. I guess they didn't know it was me who meatballed them. Webb even said they could cook some real meat burgers just for me, or I could bring my own. They kept asking me to go other places too. I just said no to everything, or I told them that my father was taking me to ball games and stuff like that. Along around third grade, they finally stopped pestering me so I could stop pestering my dad. As the years went by, Webb found other members of his own species, a dork here, a nerd there. He gave them buttons. He kept offering them to me, then finally gave up. Sometimes, when I went past the garage house, I almost shuddered. No toys, no TV, no meat. It made me appreciate things. Sometimes I'd come home and look at all my stuff and say, "Thank you for not sticking me with them." When we started middle school, we were no longer in the same classroom all day. About all that happened between us anymore was him calling to me and waving when we saw each other on the streets or in the hallways. Then, 2 weeks into sixth grade, Mike DeLuca moved across the street from me. He didn't wear a button. That was the first good sign. I asked him, "You ain't from North Dakota, are you?" He gets this nasty look on his face. He steps toward me. He goes, "What if I am? You got a problem?" I step toward him. We were nose to nose. "Maybe I do." I poke him in the forehead with my finger. He pokes me back. I shove him in the chest. He shoves me back. I punch him in the shoulder. He punches me back. And then, like there was a conductor waving a baton, we both started laughing at the same time. We howled, we roared, we rolled on the ground, and before I even found out the dude's name, I knew we were going to be best friends. He said he was from Pittsburgh, so he was a Pennsylvanian too, and he was going to be a pro football player just like me. I found out all this stuff and more in the first 5 minutes. By the 10-minute mark, we were wrestling in the grass. At 15 minutes, we were raiding my refrigerator. Later, we were looking out the front window and saw Webb going by. He was pulling his wagon. I told him, "There's a turtle in there." He squawked. "What?" "Yeah, a turtle. It's his pet. He takes it for a ride in that wagon. He's been doing it almost every day since before first grade." DeLuca didn't say a word. He pulled the curtain aside and watched Webb go up the street, looking like he was seeing a three-eared Easter bunny. Finally, he turned to me and said, "What grade's he in?" "Sixth," I said. "Ours." A slow grin came to his face. His eyes started to twinkle. I told him how I met Webb. I told him everything, buttons to oat burgers. I told him the stuff I did to Webb back then, but I don't really bother with him anymore, I said. Mike looked out the window again. It was like watching a cat watch a squirrel. "Well," he said, "that's going to change." Okay, now we're going to go ahead to chapter 9 now. So it's the boys' current time in their life. Okay? Chapter 9 now, September 8th. Today was the first day of school, 7th grade. The bell wasn't going to ring for another 15 minutes, but everybody was already there. Partly it was first day excitement, but mostly it was checking everybody out, seeing what they looked like after the summer. Almost everybody looks different, changed at least a little bit, and not just different, but different better. Like tan from swimming pools and beaches and all that. Like brown hair now blonde. Like tall, but a lot of it is clothes. I'd say 1/4 is checking out other kids' clothes, and 3/4 is showing off your own. Your new sneakers, your labels, talking prices. It was like, "Hey man, check this. Cheapo man, check this." So there we were comparing prices, and Mike said, "Look." I looked. "Where?" He pointed. "There." I followed his finger. I shook my head, grinning. "You believe it?" He laughed. "Him? Yeah, I believe it." It was Webb, and I mean the same old Webb. Same old supermarket sneakers, same prehistoric pants, probably from that great grandfather of his. Same old scrawny oat burger body, only the button changes. Today it said "Smile." "Uh-oh," I whispered. "Here he comes." Mike went instantly into his routine, meaning he acts like Webb is cool, or at least normal. He put on this huge grin and goes, "Whoa, Reveroni, what you doing, dude?" He held up his hand. Webb high-fived it. Then they medium-fived and low-fived and behind the back fived and between the legs fived. Then Mike ran Webb through the handshake. They looped and hooked and twirled every possible combination of fingers. Must have taken at least 5 minutes. All this time, Mike kept his face straight and cool. So did I. This, so did I. It was killing me. I wanted to laugh so hard. Of course, Webb, he doesn't know cool from fool, so he was giggling away the whole time. Finally, Mike stepped back and looked Webb up and down and said, "All right, Spider. Looking good." He rubbed the sleeve of Webb's prehistoric shirt between his finger and thumb. He nodded, all serious. "Hey, good stuff. Where'd you pick this up?" Webb looked down at his own shirt, probably seeing it for the first time ever in his life. "I don't know," he said. "My mom usually buys my clothes." "Maybe second time around?" said Mike. Webb nodded. "Maybe." Mike and I exploded. We turned away and pretended we were having coughing fits. Second time around, see, is a thrift shop. In other words, used clothes. Mike and I, we'd come to school in our underwear before we'd wear something from second time around. We never turned back to Webb because our eyes landed on someone else. We looked at her, we looked at each other, and we both said the same thing. Who is that? All right, that's the end of chapter 9. So make sure you go to Google Classroom, look up the question for today, give a thoughtful answer, and make sure you turn it in through Google Classroom. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Have a good day.